Morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm gonna let just a few more folks pull in. I would like to say good morning and welcome back to the National Student Parent Support Symposium, virtual edition this year. I'm excited to be here with you all today. My name is Jillian Deese, and I am the Graduate Administrative Assistant for Access Collaborative. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and share with you a few things. Firstly, it will be about the Access Collaborative program. The Access Collaborative program at The Ohio State University is an academic and social support program to assist parenting students who are pursuing a college education at The Ohio State University. We offer a variety of services to the parenting students in our program, such as programming on parenting and life skills, childcare and housing assistance, and scholarship opportunities. Since 2005, our program has organized the National Student Parent Support Symposium with the purpose of bringing together students, community, and higher education professionals to discuss best practices when supporting post-secondary parenting students and their families. The SPSS focuses on how to empower this unique college population while helping them overcome barriers that may keep them from graduating. Although this has been an abbreviated and virtual version of the symposium, we hope that it will still be just as impactful. With that being said, I would like to go ahead and introduce our speaker for today's session. Today we have with us Miss Waukesha Wilkerson. She is now a 2-year vet with us, as she came to the symposium last year and presented. So I'm really delighted to have her back with us. Waukesha is a parenting student, entrepreneur, and Ascend parent advisor and student parent advocate. Today, Waukesha will be sharing her story. In addition, she will be discussing how professionals can help parenting students transition into additional roles that enhance their social capital. Waukesha, hey girl, welcome to the session.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Jillian, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate being able to present and share my story, and not just my story, but the story of countless other student parents that maybe don't have as loud a voice. So I want to make sure that I give voice to them as well. Without any further ado, I'll go ahead and share my screen so we can start my presentation. Let's see.
And while you're sharing that, I do want to let everybody know I'm going to turn all your videos off so that you're not captured in our recording here for these sessions. Until maybe later, at least.
Second to get to our screen. There. Okay. So as Jillian gave me such a wonderful introduction, I'm the founder of Won't She Do It, which is a life coaching and consulting company that I started a couple of years ago. I was inspired by some of the students some of my peers who were struggling to find support with people who they felt identified as them, parenting students within the higher education field. So I launched Won't She Do It? And what I do is I just, help these students define goals and achieve those goals to achieving higher education or whatever it is. Some of those are personal goals as well. So what exactly did I do? Yeah, what did I do? I don't know where that came from. But so I am, so I was having a conversation with my 6-year-old daughter the other night, and she was so excited with me. She had made this book, and she had bound some lined sheets of paper with masking tape, and she was holding it up to me, and she was just so excited. It was like the Holy Grail. She had only one page completed, and it was the last page of the book. And she explained to me that she liked to read her book starting at the end. And so she was writing her book from the end to the beginning, which I thought was a really interesting concept, and kind of the path that I took with this presentation for you, because it gives us a starting point. So this is my family. I'm a single mother of 3 children. I have a 13-year-old son and a 5-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter. I am graduating from Coastline Community College tomorrow, which is one of my social capital networks. I am a scholar with Project Self-Sufficiency, and I am a parent advisor at Ascend with as the Aspen Institute, and we also partner with Imaginable Futures to help push forward policies that eliminate boundaries and create solutions for parenting students. As I mentioned before, I'm the founder of Won't She Do It? And I also have a lot of connections throughout the community with the Seroptimus ladies. I'm also a student at Sacramento State University, and I have a relationship with Cell Ed as well as a consultant. In addition to my roles as a single mother and student parent, I'm also a customer service supervisor for a skincare company, a national skincare company. So how did I acquire all of these roles? It's a good question. How did she do it? How did I end up being asked to share my story with you? Well, it all started with the network. So my social capital. Being a scholar of Project Self-Sufficiency in Orange County, California, which is an organization that helps low-income single-parent students graduate from college or vocational training by providing customized wraparound services, they catapulted me into the world of student-parent advocacy. Why is social capital important? Well, let's go over what social capital is. Social capital is the networks of relationships among people who live and work in a particular society, enabling that society to function effectively. And social capital is important because it equals money. So through my relationship with Project Self-Sufficiency, I was connected with various community partners who provided opportunities for scholarships, support networks, resources, tutoring, childcare assistance. And then I was connected with mentors for coaching, for business and professional advice. And I was also connected with Ascend at the Aspen Institute, which has connected me with professional networking access, relationships within the professional realm, peer support, mentoring from industry leaders, and the list goes on. And why these are all important. So the community partners relationship, I'll give you an example of how that relationship has supported me as a parenting student. It's not just the connection within the community, it allowed me to build relationships with individuals within the community. There was a time when I was working and my schedule conflicted with my ability to get my youngest son to preschool, because preschool hours are very, very limited. So I needed a lot of support. However, being a parenting student that's single in my community, I didn't have any friends or family that I could rely on or trust with my child. So there was an instance when one of my neighbors, she volunteered because her son went to the same preschool as mine. She would take him to preschool for me at the same time, and she couldn't do it for a few days. But through my relationships that I built with Project Self-Sufficiency with community partners, there was someone from the Seroptimus organization, one of my very dear friends, Terry. and she lives in my city. And I sent the call out to everyone that, you know, if anyone was available to help me with getting my preschooler to school, and she volunteered immediately. It wasn't a burden to her. So that's how the community partnerships that's one way that the community partners support student parents, or could support student parents. The mentoring opportunities that I've made with people who have graduated from Project Self-Sufficiency and are now professionals within their career. A lot of students who are in school, we don't have the opportunity to build those type of networking relationships the way traditional students do. So that gave me an opportunity to meet a medical MSW graduate, and she's helped me build my coaching business by providing me with mentorship. So social capital is a resource that grows, and these relationships keep growing exponentially as I continue through my educational journey and gain more experience. So why does she do it? So I think I have the right audience for this question when I ask, do any of you read self-development, self-help books, how to run your business better, how to save the world, or how to become a millionaire by 30? Well, when you read those books, the introduction always gives you a question, and they always make you answer this question before you start on your journey to success. And that question is always, what is your why? So here's mine. I would not have been a successful statistic otherwise, because statistics say that I'm less likely to complete a degree than my peers. According to IWPR, I have 28% of single mothers attain a degree or certificate within 6 years of enrollment. And the reason, And also, according to the same report, we are likely to earn $822,000 more than women with only a high school diploma in our lifetime. And the reason why earning a degree is important is because it secures us gainful employment, better health outcomes, higher income over our lifespan, and higher tax contributions, community engagement, and overall family well-being. So it's really important to support single mothers through their educational journey to promote these benefits over here. And also, especially during COVID-19 climate, it's important for us to pursue our education to fill job demands. So this is why I feel social capital is so important. So without a degree, there are limits on earning potential, degree requirements for promotions, expertise not validated. Why did I decide to go to college? Well, I started working straight out of high school, and I thought I would work my way up the corporate ladder with just my skill set. I could type, I was pretty social, I was professional, I knew how to speak to people, and I knew how to build relationships. And I've had some really great jobs, but the opportunities for advancement were limited without a degree. I started school while I was in a relationship, and my relationship immediately changed, and I was left as a single mom. And one of the things that has been a driver, or that was a driver for me starting school, returning to school after becoming a single mother, was that he told me I would not succeed without him. And he was right for about 2 years. And when I was in therapy and talking about regrets in school, school came up. And that was one of my biggest regrets, that I didn't complete college, because I had completed 2 semesters and I did really well, but as that relationship ended, I felt like I didn't have the support. I was a single mom of 3 kids. Who was going to watch my kids? Who was going to help me? I needed to work 7 days a week to ensure that I could pay for daycare out of pocket. So it just didn't seem feasible. So I was talking to my therapist about this, and she allowed me to talk myself into re-enrolling. And she never once gave me advice on re-enrolling into school, but she allowed me to deconstruct those barriers that I had been creating and that false narrative that I had believed myself for the previous 2 years. And that's important because I think we have to give students the opportunity to choose. And without her giving me the opportunity to choose, I don't think I would have continued along my journey. And it also made me accountable for whether I continued or not. So that first semester after the 2-year break between semesters, I did very well without support, but I was still working 7 days a week, and I was still paying child care 100%, and I didn't qualify for any public assistance. So being the resourceful person that I am, I was at my breaking point. So I started Googling. I just started Googling scholarships for single moms, scholarships for student parents, scholarships or support for childcare assistance, childcare grant, and I came across Project Self-Sufficiency. And when I remember filling out this application for this program that was going to help me pay for childcare, I didn't know how much they were going to pay. I just knew that I would take whatever they were offering. And I got through the application process, and I recall going in for my intake, and when they described the wraparound services that they offer, such as not in addition to the child care reimbursement, it was assistance with expenses. It was the most valuable portion of that was the social capital, but I didn't know that at the time. But they connected me with so many community partners, professional partners, and peer networks. So what next? Let's see. So my top 3 ways to enhance social capital for student parents are resources. If you are in charge of an organization, one of the ways you can enhance social capital for student parents is by centralizing a location for student parents to access resources within your community. Community partners can look like job referral places of people where relationships you have that with people that maybe are on boards who are in a professional arena who can be mentors for your student parents. There needs to be a centralized locations for students to access these resources so that it's easily accessible. The second way is to build your organization's social capital. And that's where you're building relationships within the community on behalf of the student. And the third way you can enhance social capital for student parents is to groom your students for these opportunities. And what that looks like is maybe hosting interview workshops for students, maybe hosting a scholarship workshop for students, maybe just inviting students to some of the benefits that your organization is going to be represented at, so that they can learn so that they're more comfortable in a professional setting, so that they learn the language of people who speak in professional settings. I think this number 3, if I were to place emphasis on any of them, it would be grooming your students for opportunities, because at the end of the day, the social capital relationship is 2 ways. While you are preparing the student to build social capital, your student will also have the opportunity to build social capital for your organization within the community and organizations that they make relationships through those connections. So with that being said, we're right on schedule. So Jillian, you want to take over for this portion of it?
I can. That way you can get some water. That was a lot of great information you shared with us so far. So we have already planned to make sure we break you guys out into smaller groups so you can chat, so you can talk to each other. We understand we are missing that physical presence of having our community chats, is what I like to call it. So in a few moments, we're going to break you out into groups of 6 or 7. You can choose to turn your video on. You can just do audio, whatever works for you. But in those breakout groups, you'll have about 7 to 8 minutes to discuss maybe 3 different social supports solutions that you could offer through your organization. Or you can talk about 3 different capital building relationships for parenting students that you could touch into, or you could foster. This conversation is all about social capital and how we can better build that for parenting students. Or I know there are many parenting students here. If there's a parenting student in your group, they could also share what they would need and what social capitals they might benefit from the most. So I'm going to go start splitting you up. Once you get into your groups, I will let you know about maybe 60 seconds before we close out, and then it'll pop you back into this group. And then we'll be able to do a little sharing and questioning and answering after that. Okay, everybody? Don't get nervous if you don't want to share video. You can just be in the groups too. Don't log out on us. Stay here for the conversations. We're excited for you guys to be here. You should all start getting messages to go ahead and join and move to your groups. Okay. Perfect.
It was too fast.
It was too fast. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Right in the middle
I am so
the
sorry.
solution.
You guys were in the middle of a solution?
Amy, if you type in the chat, Amy, if you're listening, type your solution that you had came up with into the chat. If you had your magic wand, her name was.
Is Amy able to share? She can share this space right now. We're gonna just see how much we can share. I'm gonna put a poll up for those who feel comfortable. Let me know. I feel like sharing, or I'll share in the chat, or nah. That's okay. I'm gonna release the poll now. So let us know. And Amy, if you're on, go ahead. If you can unmute yourself and just let's hear it.
Okay, so I'm not sure this is going to live up to the introduction I just got. So I'll try not to disappoint anyone. But what I was saying with my magic wand is that I think on the surface, senior leadership, of course, they're always going to value having diverse campuses and students who have children are a part of the really rich fabric of diversity that we all strive for. But sometimes in the nitty-gritty details, like people don't want to get involved in the complexity of what it takes for our students to be successful in terms of support. So my magic wand would be if there would be a way to be able to show when you have a student who has children who graduates, the financial impact to our community from that. I mean, we know every time a student graduates, that's a benefit to the institution, period. But having children, I mean, I just know that the impact is even greater. And so it'd be great to have a dollar to put on that. You know, I mean, just to be blunt, sometimes that's what gets people on board, right? And to be able to say like, okay, yeah, to have on-campus family housing, for example, we have that at our institution. That costs more than housing for traditional single students. But you know what? Right. When a family graduates, this is the economic impact to our community. That's my magic wand solution.
I think that is a magic wand answer. And I think it did live up to the hype. That is a solution that I think everyone in positions of power, they need to take into consideration the impact that graduation, after graduation for families, how much we contribute to society. Let's see, did anyone else have any feedback or questions? There were a few things that I missed during our presentation, pardon me. I was very nervous. So I wanna, first off, Jillian, I don't know if you were checking chat. Were there any questions? Okay, let's do the questions and I'll probably be able to say the points that I was
talking in the chat. There was a lot of discussion going on. So I see two people are volunteered to share virtual or with video or audio, but I can't see who. So if those two people would just unmute themselves and share. I know about 7 of you said you would share in the chat. Go ahead and type those in so we can keep moving this conversation. I love that you guys are talking about putting money to it, because for a parenting student, we all know money isn't the motivator. You know, that family wealth is the motivator, but it's about sustaining yourselves through, right? And I don't know if this came up in anybody else's conversations, but I found because I'm the GAA for Access, it made it an opportunity for me to go to graduate school without having to search for a graduate position that was willing to work with me as a student parent.
Right.
It felt really comfortable to step into a position where they know my son, they've seen my son, they're excited to see him, and they understand if we have an impromptu doctor's appointment, and they trust me that I'll get the work done. So they were able to put money in my pocket through a graduate position, help me with my tuition so that I can continue my education, which is building that social capital.
Exactly. And that's what you guys, go ahead. Yeah. No, I was gonna say that's what, part of the capital portion of social capital does. It puts money into the hands of the student. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the points that I wanted to make during my presentation, is how important it is to give your student parents value. and to show them that they're valued. There are opportunities, so 2 parts. Growing your social capital network as an organization within the community, because I know a lot of nonprofits, a lot of schools, a lot of smaller organizations don't have the funding or the ability to monetarily compensate students for services sometimes. However, through your social capital networks, those people may be in a better position, like with your corporate relationships, to sponsor a student parent for a service or a speaking engagement or attendance at a conference or a professional learning program or a mentorship opportunity. Those are the social capital opportunities for the organization that connects the student parents to put money in the student parents' pocket. So finding those relationships is crucial and essential for the success of student parents in achieving economic sustainability through their educational journey. Come on.
Are you able to see some of those in the chat? I see a lot of solutions that are coming up and some questions. This is great. I see career coaching.
There was one question that I came across that I wanted to address from one of the attendees. They were asking about opportunities being equitable amongst students and student parents. And I think that that's important to, for the organizations to advocate for your student parents, is making sure that those spaces take into account the status of the student, like their student parent. They will need flexibility, as Jillian mentioned, and not penalizing them for being parents and in school. And I think that those opportunities, you know, I think I know where they were going with this, and I'm trying to think of a politically correct way to say it. The opportunities have to be shared amongst all student parents. I know it's easy, even I've saw it where I'm favored for a lot of things, and it's not so much that other students aren't capable, it's that I'm really good at building my social capital. So, you know, I'm thought of first. However, I try to share those opportunities with my peers as well, who may not have learned the ins and outs of building social capital. And I think that's part of your responsibility as an organization. Also, when I mentioned grooming your students, you have to groom your students to be advocates for themselves.
And I think that grooming piece is so essential, even if the students don't know what could come from that situation. And I mean, I'm a shameless plugger. Most of you know Miss Tracy. Miss Tracy, I feel, groomed me for this position, and because she said, you know, they invited me to the symposium last year and exposed me to it, and they know with my personal drive that I would be like, this is really cool. I can tap into this and, you know, help with this event. Because I care a lot about this population, even though it's not my, in a necessarily straight alignment with my educational pursuits. It becomes that advocacy tool because you advocate for yourselves and your benefit.
Exactly.
And that's one of those big social capital tools. But not everybody knows that they need them or have them or what that may look like. And I saw someone said that they got a lot more engagement from their students when they began texting them with personalized text. That's important. I think I spoke with someone earlier too that said that they've been constantly engaging with their students ever since we went virtual education. That's important, because one of those social capital pieces is also us being able to maintain our own mental health, not just by going to counseling, but just having that support and that validation and saying, hey, just checking on you. How's you and the kids? Are you guys eating okay?
Right.
Are you breathing okay? Are you all right? How's your classes? Just those simple check-ins can help build that social capital. It doesn't take too much effort. Because understanding, I think the students, the more they see that there's someone that validates and cares about how they feel, it's easier to network with other people and express how they feel. And it's just practicing communication.
Let's see, someone said we discussed a lot about ways we can, as professionals, create opportunities for single parents to meet each other and build social capital in that way. Felicia, that is 100% on target. So here's a quick story. Through Project Self-Sufficiency, I met my neighbors. I live in an apartment complex of maybe 100 apartments, and I'd been living here for about 2 years, and I did not know any of my neighbors. Mind you, Project Self-Sufficiency is on the other side of town. And during my intake, the program director at the time, she recognized my address because apparently there are several single mothers in my building who are in Project Self-Sufficiency pursuing college degrees. And I've met some of the most amazing people I otherwise would not have met. When that next day, so she asked for permission to share my phone number with one of the girls. She's like, no, you need to meet her. And I was like, okay, you know, or whatever. And my friend Allison, she is an amazing, oh my gosh. Let me tell you a story about why social capital is so important for peer connection. Allison is a neighbor. She's a friend now. She's just the nicest person you will ever meet. Allison ran the food pantry at one of the colleges locally for about 7 years, giving food to, she built that program from the ground up. Allison is a single mom of 3 kids. Allison she's a lot of statistics, so many statistics. She is, so anyhow, I met Allison that day and we just bonded instantly. And Allison has connected me with, she is the most resourceful person I know. Without the introduction from Project Self-Sufficiency, I never would have spoken to Allison. Allison likely would never have spoken to me. It is just amazing. And she does it so selflessly. She's given me, I'm not a student at her school. However, she lets all the moms in Project Self-Sufficiency know when there's an overflow of food, come and get some food. She'll bring the food to my doorstep. I remember when COVID-19 first happened and she knew how afraid I was to leave the house for a while. Allison was leaving tissue paper on my door. Her last roll, someone gifted her a pack of tissue paper. She left a pack on my doorstep. It was, this is why making those relationships for your students is important. It's because now I have family that lives next door to me. I have someone, I support her. I look out for her kids just as much as she looks out for my kids. And there are about 4 or 5 other parenting students in my complex that I otherwise had no idea existed. And that's a piece of the social part of social capital that is ensuring my success. She's my cheerleader. She checks on me. We check on each other during finals. We can relate to similar experiences. And I just want you guys to, if that's not a component of your organization, if you're helping students, you have to make a space for those students to also connect, because, it helps to ensure that we're going to, continue on.
And if I can bounce off of that, and a question that came up earlier in your presentation was wondering about how social capital can treats everyone, if it does treat everyone equitably, and if it doesn't, what do you do? And I think I want to kind of have a little discussion about, because I know most of you on here are like student parent champions, so you're supporting these parenting students, and you give them your all. You buy diapers and stuff for them out of pocket. You're putting in lots of work for programming, and then you have students who don't show up. I think that is a hard pill to swallow. I'm a teacher by nature. I get that. So sometimes I think maybe it doesn't seem like it treats them equitably, but some people aren't ready for that kind of stuff. And so you can, most of you probably know the saying, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. Some of these resources that people aren't ready for, because the more social capital you gain, the more networks you gain, the more people that hold you accountable. Mm-hmm. And so those accountability people, those accountability supports are harder to kind of face sometimes if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. But I wonder if, you mentioned someone from Self-Sufficiency meeting introduced you to Allison. Do you think that would have happened, say you had like a building group chat, or that wasn't ran by the support person, but was ran by another student? Do you think that would have been just as impactful?
I believe so. I believe having someone that's going through the same experience, or someone who's already gone through the journey, I think that is important for student parents to feel, because it's easy for me as a student parent, it's hard to see yourself in others. It's hard to in these other professional positions, and these people who already have degrees. It's hard to see me. You know, for someone who maybe went to college right after high school, went and got their graduate degree, and now they're working in their profession. That wasn't my journey, so how can you relate to that? But to have someone who is a parent and is going through school or has done the journey already, I think that contributed a lot to me sticking with college. It's easy to start college. The thing that I think you guys have to focus on is keeping us motivated to stay. If I'm seeing the fruits of my hard work, I'm being as I'm doing, and that's what all of my peers are encouraging me about. That's what all of my mentors and all the organizations that I partner with, they validate that I'm being while doing. I don't have to wait for the piece of paper to be a professional or be acknowledged as a professional. I don't have to wait for the piece of paper to be validated or given my value. I'm being while doing, and that's the social part. I'm being a student right now. When my peers have given me community that the college can't offer me because of my unique experience, or the colleges are not progressive enough yet to offer that type of support for parenting students that creates the community. A lot of them do. Some of them are advancing, but it's not on a national scale yet. That's what, you know, organizations like Ascend at the Aspen Tutor advocating for, is creating more family-friendly campuses, imaginable futures. Everyone, you know, has to be represented. And if we can't get it in the college setting, it's important that the organizations that are supporting us give us that sense of community. I feel like a college student because of Project Self-Sufficiency. I feel like a professional because of the partnerships with the other organizations. So there's many different aspects to ensuring a student's success through their journey.
Okay, if I could cut in, Raquel and Jillian, I know Autumn Green, if you're still on the call, she wanted to report out from her group. So if we
Yes.
could report out, she'll be the last report out for us. So Autumn, you can unmute yourself.
Hey, this is Autumn Green from Wellesley Centers for Women. I am a research scientist and I was a student parent. And so one of the things that we talked about in our group was about the importance of providing career development opportunities as social capital. And so the way that I do that now is by working with student parents to train them and provide opportunities for them to work as researchers. So most of our research that's comes out of our student parent research initiative at Wellesley Centers for Women is done by and for student parents with mentorship from other student parent alumni, including myself and our executive director, Layli Mapayan. And I'm sorry, Layli's name is very complicated, but so I'm just looking at the captions. We talked about, you know, how does one go from, hey, I'm interested in possibly doing this professionally, to actually becoming a professional. And so we have undergraduate and graduate research fellowships that are available. We've offered them nationally. So we use Google Hangouts and video chat to stay connected, and other kinds of platforms to work remotely with student parents who are interested in doing this across the country. We also talked about the importance of really that when you connect with someone who is a strong mentor for you, that is a really critical piece of social capital that, you know, can continue throughout your career. So we talked about, you know, some of my mentees that I've worked with since they were undergraduate students who are now working professionally in the field, have earned graduate degrees and have continued on. We've talked about other kinds of opportunities even outside of the field. How can we connect the nursing students with other student parent nursing alums or teaching alums or other kinds of professional development opportunities to really create that trajectory from, hey, I might want to do this professionally or go into this as a career, to really getting to the point where you are flourishing and able to step up and become a mentor for other people who are coming behind you.
Thanks for sharing, Autumn. I think what you brought up is some pretty valid points. And even I think I don't want to put a box around what social capital is. And I mean, I understand partially, you know, it's me and Waukesha here, and we are both very headstrong student parents. And I recognize not every student parent is at that point yet. They will get there, but they're not there yet. And I think it's hard to compare the two, but when you have student parents like Waukesha and myself who are willing to nurture and work with other parenting students, it helps pull them up. I mean, even, and this is maybe more to Waukesha's like life coach nature. We were on a chat discussing this session, and at the end she's like, hold on, I need to talk to you about something else because I want you to know that you're great and that you can do this and you can do that. And it just, I think she understands because she's a student parent, and there was some resonation there, but because that's her nature, she was able to uplift. So finding the ones in your student org, giving them, or not student org, in your organizations, the students who have those capabilities, giving them maybe a little nudge, like, hey, do you mind sending out this email to your peer about this? Or, hey, do you mind hosting this, you know, Facebook watch party? Let's see.
And finding ways to compensate them for their time in a way that it gives them value. And when I say that, I mean, you know, because a lot of student parents, they struggle with a lot of not feeling that they're worthy to be in those positions. And I think, Autumn, you brought up some great points about giving them the opportunity to work towards these things and a mentorship opportunity. Student parents, we're not going to school just to get the paper. We're going to school to create a better lifestyle for our children. And, you know, you can help us create, because what would be so devastating is if you help this student parent go all the way through college, obtaining a bachelor's, possibly even a graduate degree, for them to exit and not have any skills on negotiating a salary commensurate that it matches their experience.
So I could keep going, but I know we are trying to be time friendly for all of you. Waukesha has to get to work soon.
Yes.
So, that's what student parents do. We balance everything. We try to, at least sometimes. I want to wrap up with one last thing, so because some of you might not rejoin us, I don't know. Also considering, because Waukesha mentioned the graduate students, one social capital skill that you could benefit, you know, graduate students and undergrad is bringing in someone who teaches them how to publish. Because I'm in my own predicament of trying to figure out how to publish research articles and things like that while balancing schedule and maybe having some imposter syndrome stuff going on that a lot of low income or first gen students have, which happen to be a lot of our student parents. So that's just the lasting thought that I wanted to leave with you. Like yesterday and like the previous sessions, there'll be a survey that pops up when you close out the meeting. Answer a few questions. I read through some of your guys' responses. I appreciate your feedback. So we're trying to incorporate what you're asking for or what you're suggesting. We do have a session coming up here at 1 o'clock. So if you're going like me, just going to take a quick lunch break, we'll be right back here at 1 o'clock. And we'll be back in webinar session. So you can take off, you know, nice face, clear clothes, whatever. Go back into sweatpants and stuff. I don't know. But we'll be here with Joan Karp and Elizabeth O'Shea from PERG at Endicott College. They are going to be giving us an update on the family-friendly campus toolkit they rolled out this year. And that will be a very in-depth webinar with them.
I love you so much. Did you know that?
I love you more than
Yes, so with that being said, Waukesha's information will be posted to our website. This video will be posted to our website. We're excited to see you guys later on today or at the student parent calling. You can come to those. You're welcome to. We just want to really try to get student parents there too. Or the student parent session tomorrow. Thank you, Waukesha. Thank you.
Thank you. Follow me on Twitter, everybody, at Waukesha.
Have a good lunch, everybody.